Okay, I'm starting it because it's 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
and we need 2 more people. Otherwise, we will have to just take the minutes without the full roster, and we won't be able to vote.
Walter and Bobby, was she there?
I don't see her anymore.
We have 5 then.
You should probably
Okay.
just start because of the time, and then we'll see. I'm texting a couple people to see if
Ala
where-
Mesco's not there, and okay. So when we don't have quorum, we can vote at anything. So
So Raul, maybe we'll just continue through the consent calendar, and maybe more people will come in, and then maybe we can vote later.
yeah, okay. Okay, so we'll start the meeting at 8:32, and we can discuss any item on the agenda, but we cannot approve the minutes, no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Sorry we don't have quorum yet.
Good morning.
Good morning, Misha. So why don't we start with you, Misha?
Yes, we have guests here this morning from Vital Link, which I'll let Misha and Brian actually share what Vital Link is. And they had some ideas about partnering with Santa Ana Business Council. So we'll get to hear a little bit about what their thoughts are.
Thank you for having us. I'm going to be very brief and let Brian do most of the talking. Basically, Madeline and I were in a program together, and we have been discussing ever since how we could collaborate with the Santa Ana Business Council, and that there's so many great possibilities of things that we could do together. And introduced Madeline to Brian, and we've kind of been powwowing about having a major event, which Madeline, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about. It looks like we're going to have to postpone that for probably a year because of the whole pandemic thing and being able to get full participation. But we'll continue to talk about that later. In the meantime, we wanted to give back to.
Will you tell them a little bit about the history of Vital Link or who you are?
Yes. I'm going to have Brian fill you in on all that because he's much more eloquent and I stumble too much on it. But basically, we want to give back to students. Our main focus is to give students, especially those who are disadvantaged or have lack of resources, we want to give them the opportunity to explore and connect with career pathways for well-paying jobs, CTE, which career technical education, STEM programs. And in wanting to give back more fully, we're going to launch we are launching a fundraiser for scholarships for students. And it'll be for students going into community colleges. We want to give them the awardees will get $1,000. It doesn't have to be spent on tuition. It can be spent on whatever expenses they need to cover so that they can be successful in college in pursuing their dream career. I'm going to turn it over to Brian. Brian is our president. He can explain how we're going to do our fundraiser. It's going to be called Pedal Ed. And we're very excited about involving the Business Council in helping us give scholarships to students. Brian?
You're on mute. Oh, Brian, you're still on mute. I don't know if you can unmute yourself.
Oh, no.
He doesn't seem to be. Hold on, mute.
Well, as we're trying to figure out that side of it, I'll start to give you a little bit background about VitalLink. We've been around for about 25 years, going on 26, and we have been providing these fantastic programs like Sun Power Academy, where students learn about solar energy. This summer, we had 2 new academies with Santa Ana unified, and it was Drone Academy, and we did one that's data analytics with a program provided by Alteryx, and those were both wildly successful. We also do career and college nights or days. Boy, I'm just stumbling, sorry. Basically, it allows colleges and businesses to introduce themselves to students. So say a student wants to get into cybersecurity, then there are opportunities for them to learn about that. We probably have more than 24 programs that we'd run throughout the year, and they're fantastic opportunities for students to learn everything from cybersecurity and data analytics to manufacturing to understanding an entrepreneurial mindset, which is a change in the way that we teach students. Instead of the classic mode of education where students are brought through a system so that they can go into manufacturing business or go into an office, the entrepreneurial mindset enables students to think more critically and be able to adapt to change and to be able to look for solutions. So it's a different way of engaging students.
It looks
Brian,
like
Brian, are you?
I'm back. Sorry, my entire system just crashed. I mean, I could hear you. I literally, my screen went black. I couldn't find the unmute button. My mouse wouldn't work. The whole thing just went.
Okay.
So, you know, life in the time of Zoom, right?
Yes.
All right, Brian. So I've been stumbling along. It's if you want to take it from there, I'd be great.
Yeah. So since I don't know what you've said, hopefully I won't repeat anything. But just a little bit of history about VitalLink. We've been around for 26 years. We initially started out as a nonprofit that was organized by some Orange County business executives to address soft skills. Soft skills or employability skills is still something that's talked about a lot with applicants and students. So 26 years later, that's still important work. But over time, what has happened is we evolved into focusing more on career technical education. And if you are not familiar with that, all of the high schools, community colleges, and regional occupational programs in Orange County have spent an immense amount of time, effort, resources, funding to align these pathways, starting with as young as middle school up through community college for middle skills careers. And so by middle skills in Orange County, what we mean is things like advanced manufacturing, engineering, health sciences, digital media arts, biotechnology, automotive, technology and transportation, those types of careers that don't necessarily require a 4-year degree, but that students can get with a high school degree and some accumulation of certificates or certifications, or an associate's degree. And so that's the space that VitalLink lives in. So we work with all 15 school districts, all 4 ROPs, and all 9 community colleges to help introduce students to these pathways, because we understand that those careers are not only very important for the individuals who are looking for them and their families, but also it's an economic imperative for Orange County and for all of our cities, Santa Ana included. If we cannot fill those jobs, then those jobs go away. They will move somewhere else. And if we can't find the appropriate talent for those jobs, then our businesses cannot thrive as they should. And so primarily what we do is we try to, we bring together business and education to help introduce students to these career pathways and to the careers, to give the students a realistic expectation or understanding of what careers look like. We also like to bring businesses in to talk to our teachers and our instructors about the current skills and technology or trends that they're seeing in the industry, so that teachers are teaching what should be taught, so that we're turning out graduates that are qualified for entry-level positions. So that's where VitalLink is.
And I just wanted to share really quickly, one of the strategic planning goals of Santa Ana Business Council is education and education pipelines. And so one of the things that originally even Ryan and I had sat down with Orange County Business Council, which kind of runs all of the corporations in Orange County, big corporations like Allergen Corporation and these different groups that also give funding for things like tech and to get pipelines going so that students are getting these jobs. And as you guys know, Irvine, which is right next door to us, is more of a tech hub than we are. We're more of a creative hub in Santa Ana. But one of the things that we thought would be really amazing is to bring some kind of a tech fair to downtown at some point, so that these large corporations and our students, colleges, and groups could come together at some point and have a space where each year continuously there was some kind of an interface happening where the larger corporations and the and our in our downtown would occur. And when I met Misha at this fundraising through OCBC group, it actually was like, oh, wow, this is a great connection, because that possibility for the future is easier when there's organizations that are already working with all of those different groups. And we're able then to connect easier to create this kind of synergy. And as you guys know, we've created a literary and arts thing, but now the technological part is the other side, and being able to connect students with things like Buzz, there's a huge gaming company in Orange County, and there's all these different things, and we'd love them to be able to come into our downtown and really get to know our students, and that helps us. Even for our students to come back and get workforce housing, we know that the whole thing is a giant connected piece. And so this is something looking towards the present and the future, starting to build that so that we can have that occur. Anyway, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted you to meet them today, and we can continue having conversations as a board as to how we want to go forward with this. And also Misha has sent us information, and we'll continue to send information on the projects that she wants us to partner on them with them.
And also, I would like to take this opportunity this morning, if we have time, to have Brian explain our Pedal Ed fundraiser and see if that's a fit for you all, and if you would like to collaborate with us, give your suggestions and ideas, and work with us on it. Brian?
Oh, okay. I was waiting to hear if they had time. So just real quick. So I'm a cyclist. I ride about 150 miles a week. I went for a 20-mile ride this morning before coming into the office. And we had this idea that we wanted to do a fundraiser for scholarships, as Misha mentioned, for Orange County students to go to Orange County community colleges. And while tuition is free, we also, if you go full time, what we also know is that there are significant costs in terms of transportation and meals and books and, on and on and on for students. And so it doesn't necessarily have to go to tuition. It can go to anything that helps them pursue their education. And so what we've done is we've split the county up into 4 different zones. And I will ride each zone. Each zone is going to be comprised of a grouping of 7 ROPs, colleges, and school districts. And so Obviously for Santa Ana, we'll hit Santa Ana Unified School District at the headquarters and also Santa Ana College. And the idea, as Misha said, is to raise money for scholarships, but also to raise awareness of what our education partners are doing, because a lot of parents don't realize that these careers and pathways are out there. And also a lot of businesses don't realize the training that's out there. And so what we're hoping to do is raise awareness of career technical education, middle skill careers, the importance of them to the overall economy of Santa Ana, Orange County, the region, and do that through this fundraiser. So we'll be live streaming from the road. We will have interviews everywhere we go. We can include anyone and everyone. We can alter the routes. And so I'll just be setting off. Each of the routes is going to be roughly 50 to 60 miles. And so I'll do it over the course of a Friday, and then we will again, live stream much of it, at least the stopping parts. And so that's what Misha's referring to.
Okay. Well, I think everything that you're saying and you're doing, Brian and Misha, it's like, I mean, it looks like you're doing a lot for the community, and I really don't know how you do all that. I mean, but anyway, I'm gonna take this to the board, discuss it, and we'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if nothing else, just awareness of who we are and what we do with you and the board is important. And then we always want to find partners to help us amplify the message, because it is so very important for students. We worked with roughly 20,000 students this past year during the pandemic, and we always want to be increasing the number of students that we work with. There's 400,000 students in Orange County, so we're just barely scratching the surface.
Oh, nice. Kim, do you want to say something? Kim, do you have anything?
Well, one, I just want to thank you both for, again, as Raul said, for everything you're doing. We, on our agenda, we don't have your contact information. So Madeline, could you
Yes,
get
maybe I can thank you, but maybe you can put it in the chat right now, both of you,
Sure.
so that we can also.
right. And it's exciting. Pet Ed, my husband happens to be an avid biker, so I want to fill him in on all of this good stuff. And I think there's lots of room for collaboration in the future. And Madeline, good job in, introducing us to this great group. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for your time.
Thank you for bringing us all this information, both of you.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Magdalena, who else do we have quorum?
Oh, let me see here. No, we
no
still
Bobby?
do not.
No Bobby?
No.
I hope she's okay.
Yeah,
She never missed a meeting.
I know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, so anyway, okay, so let's continue with the agenda. But anyway, we have a couple of motions, but we cannot vote anyway. Let's go through to the motions, and we'll vote when we have quorum, I guess. So there's a couple motions to approve an additional $2,000 for Tamalada Festival, and $2,000 for Pozolada Festival. Sponsorships, we discussed this at the last meeting. We need to approve the extra amount because we only approved $3,000 for events in our budget. So we need to recommended action, approve motions. So we have the second motion, which is to approve reallocation funds as follows: from OCTA account line 23, semi-normal events, to line 22, Pozolada Festival, and from SABC budget line I put 45, but it was an error. It's line 50. So it's the reserves to line 29, Tamalada Festival again, $2,000. We only approve $3,000 approved on the budget. So we recommend action approve motions. Of course, you know, when we have quorum, we'll vote on that. And that takes care of that. Reports from me, special event applications, just to tell the board we're waiting for the final approve. I went to check with Bill McGovern about just to make sure, you know, that everything was fine. He's missing the proof of the insurance, so it was sent to him, but he didn't get it. So what I'm doing on Monday, I'm taking him in person. I'm taking him a copy of the insurance, and that will take care of that. I'll be able to pay for the license for sidewalk sales and the events that are included in the application. And so that's my report.
Raul, can I just interject that Bill he has Mondays off.
Oh, okay.
And not only that, but it would be best if you could email the insurance, because Bill then forwards it over to our risk management for review, and they approve it electronically. So it would be better if you could email it today, and then that way the ball gets rolling.
The problem is, Julie, is that he said that he has his mailbox full and everything went to the trash, and he doesn't know where it is. So I said, so we don't have these problems anymore. I told him that I was gonna drop off in an envelope. I'm gonna drop off the proof of insurance. I'm gonna slide it underneath the door so he gets it. Yeah, it was sent a couple times.
Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, you receive it. Risk management receive it, but he didn't receive it because of that problem. Yeah, but thank you, Julie. Yeah, and that's it. I guess so he's there on Tuesday, Julie. Yeah,
I'll be here on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Okay, so I'm gonna go and pay. Huh?
Yeah. Today, he's here today, and also Tuesday. Just Monday's his day off.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So that's me. The next board meeting in August, we look forward to have it on person if everybody agrees. And Kim, we thank you so much for letting us some of your space on your building.
You know, honestly, it wasn't me. It's our wonderful tenant on the 6th floor, Visioneering. And they, when I asked their CEO, John Parker, I said, you know, can we meet in your beautiful conference room that's very large? And he said that they would be thrilled to have us. And so I was, you know, that was very generous of them. So I really can't take credit other than just asking if they would share.
Okay. Well, that's very nice of him. We'll thank him anyway also.
And we'll send everybody an email with the address and everything. We wanted to make sure this was on public record, that as of next meeting, we will be meeting in person again and at this office, so that everybody knows. It's the Visioneering Studios office in the bank building. Kim, what is just so they have the address too right now, but we'll send you out a message that also shares the information. So it's 106 West 4th Street. It's the office building where the Shoe Palace store is. And it's the First National Bank building, 4th and Main. So, and it'll be on the 6th floor. So, yeah.
6th floor. North suite number?
When you walk off the elevator, you'll see it'll be right there. So just go up the elevator.
Okay, sounds good.
I have a question. I just want, I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody in person. We've never done that since I joined the board. And I really look forward to meeting everyone in person next month. And I hope that we'll have some donuts maybe and coffee. Is that possible?
I'll take care of that, Mike.
I like your style. Yeah.
You can't have a meeting without donuts, Mike.
That's right. That's the incentive to show up.
Yeah. Anything in the special that you like?
Oh, no. Any variety is fine with me. I'm open.
Sugar glaze, sugar. Yeah.
Less on the sugar, more on the donuts.
Okay.
Cakes.
Well, I can't wait to have our first meeting in person. Yeah. Magdalena.
Did you want to see if Teresa and you had Julie on here before?
Teresa was there. Hello, Teresa. Did she leave?
She's not on mute, but I can't hear you. Maybe your volume. Oh, wow. We can't hear you at all. But you're not on mute. It's still not working. Maybe we can go to Julie and then come back to Teresa.
Yeah, we can do that. And then come back to Claudia Nafa. Do you have any reports from her?
Yes, both Señora Arianes and Claudia Nafa gave me reports.
Okay, so let's go with Julie. Hi, Julie. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for being in the meeting, Julie.
Of course. I wanted to let you guys know that the city council is going to be voting on the spending plan next Tuesday. And this is for the dollars that we received from the federal government. It's my understanding that they have carved out a pretty substantial amount of money for security guards for the downtown. And fingers crossed, everything goes well and that spending plan gets approved on Tuesday. And that way we can start looking for security companies because the federal funding is provided to the city of Santa Ana. We have the responsibility of overseeing those funds. So it'll be my job to basically get some proposals and some quotes from different security guard companies, including the one that we had before, and seeing who can provide the best service at the best rate, and then issuing an agreement and getting that moving. So first things first, the funding has to get approved from council.
Julie, is the city council having a meeting in person or?
They some of them meet in person and some of them call in through Zoom or the teleconference. Yeah. And I want to say it's limited people in the council chambers. So it's not at full capacity, but I want to say that there is people that go in.
So do you recommend that we go and talk in public comments regarding the voting and the money?
You know, Raul, I don't know if I would blatantly say I would recommend. I think that you as the president and with your board can decide what initiative you want to take on that front. Certainly public comment is always available at city council meetings. And I want to say that the agenda is already posted on the City of Santa Ana website.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Julie.
Julie, do you know, is there going to be a backfilling of the parking revenue such that the merchant fund could be approached next to get renewed as well?
That I didn't hear. I didn't hear that they were backfilling any revenue lost from the parking garages.
So maybe that's something that we can bring up to people, is that, you know, just providing back the security is really just a base level of support. And another base level of support that we really need back is our merchant funds. Not having those funds has completely destabilized downtown, our key events, our staffing is going to be removed soon. So we're in a downward spiral without those funds. And I don't really hear anybody elevating that discussion. Our first priority was definitely elevating the security issue because that was mission critical. And now we need to move on to this next piece and get it back online as well. So I urge the board as loudly as I can to address the issue of the merchant fund not being reignited in December, us working hard earlier this year to talk with all the council people about getting that and security back up and running. And now our final chance before they vote on the revived funds to get the merchant fund reprioritized by having them backfill the parking revenue account, which is something very easy for them to do with the federal dollars. Thanks.
Yeah, just to make sure that we're clear, you know, the reason that a lot of agreements weren't renewed last December, I wouldn't say a lot, but some of the main ones, was because of COVID and the revenue loss due to COVID. And that also included the Clean and Safe program. So I know that the priority has been security. For this year, we were able to get the sale proceeds from the YMCA building, and that covered the cost for the Clean and Safe team. And then after that, you know, the other bigger agreement is the merchant fund agreement. Luckily, the parking revenue and the meter revenue is, you know, getting better and better as people are coming back to work and we're having special events and things. So the account is getting better. But certainly, Ryan, I just want to make sure that we're like clear about what happened and the order that it happened. Clean and Safe is still another big contract that would need to be programmed into those revenue funds. So I'm going to keep going. It looks like for the rest of August, or for the rest of July, August, and part of September, there's events programmed every single weekend. And I think that that's in part to everybody wanting to come out to the downtown, but also thanks to the efforts from Madeline and Ryan and all the other folks that help organizers and event organizers come through. I would really, really like to encourage folks to coach and walk the event organizers through the process and let them know that it's at minimum 30-day advance application submittal. And I'm happy to also walk them through and kind of get them familiar with the process, because it's quite the process to get approved for an event, special event. Let me see here. And then I wanted to also let you know that at the parking structures, we've added an additional security guard for the nights on the weekends, particularly because of the need with the nightlife increasing. And then the last thing that I wanted to remind everyone was that we have the Bridal and Quinceanera Expo, and that's coming this Sunday, August 1st. It'll start at 4 p.m. and it'll end at 7 p.m. And that's going to be on a street closure over there by Cafe Cultura and Cito and the kebab place Starbucks, that in that block. That's it for me, Raul. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Raul, I just had a comment about what Ryan Smoller had said. Madeline / Ryan, it might be helpful if you guys could draft, you know, kind of a form letter that might hit what we want to get before the council. And if you can send it out to the boards, everyone and other interested parties that we know of, we could at least get in, letters to the city before the city council for public comment. And then also if Madeline / Ryan could tell us like you know, if you think it's worth it for us to come to the meeting and how that might look. So, you know, maybe you guys can confer to see how we can lend support to get our voice heard for the city council meeting this Tuesday. That's it. That's my only.
I think the more we talk to the council or the city, I think it's good that we send comments to them of about all the things that we think we need in the downtown, but also, you know, the most important thing, security, clean and safe, and all that. It is very important for the downtown. I'm there every day, like 8 or 10 hours sometimes every day, and a downtown, a business downtown without security, without policemen. I know we have policemen, but but we need more security in the downtown, and that's because, you know, we want to make sure that all the clients, the customers feel safe in the downtown. We don't want to see a lot of homeless, you know, in the downtown, because that's a bad image for our downtown, our businesses. And I think it is very important that we do have to write some comments to the council, and Ryan, Magdalena, can you put something together, and all the board members also?
Yes.
Okay.
Raul, I also have another idea. Perhaps we can invite maybe a member of the city council or the mayor to come to one of our meetings in the future, possibly in August. At least this way we can probably engage this person with us, and then we can directly interact with that person during our meeting with him or her. And
It is. Yes, I agree with you, Mike. I think we should invite the mayor and congratulate him, you know, on his new position.
I think that's a good idea.
Also, just letting you all know, and I was going to talk about it for a second, but we do have an upcoming meeting with the mayor that's going to happen in August. We also have an opportunity to share in front of the council, which one of the council members is setting up. So we do have a couple of opportunities that are going to be great to actually talk to our electeds. And we also have some electeds that are working with us right now on some of the issues in downtown to kind of clear up some things.
Yeah, thank you, Magdalena. Mike, it's a good idea. I think we should have them.
I just want to add that, you know, I've been here 7 years, and over that time, we had to fight for many years each time to get a good agreement in place with the city, to get what was needed to make things run. And those agreements have all dissolved and evaporated. And we're still being asked to do more and more work, but the funding is not being recommitted towards what we were doing previously. And it's causing a lot of distress and destabilization in our community and in our organizations to be able to deliver services. And those critical contracts are the clean and safe contract and the merchant agreement. And so we need both of those reinstated, and the city needs to get a little more creative and be our partner to get us back up and running and stable again. And instead, what I'm seeing is the city is really quite content with us not having resources and trying to get us to continue to do all of the services we were doing and more. And they're also playing into the destabilization of downtown institutions like Art Walk. So we really need to revamp our partnership with the city so that they really understand what we had before and how we need to get back there. There should be a solid plan to do that at this point. There's been a complete lack of communication and transparency. In Long Beach, California, our neighboring city, the city gave $2 million of their Revive funds to the business improvement districts. I've provided that type of information and documentation to the city on multiple times. I don't feel like we're being heard at all. And I feel like anybody who approaches them with any complaint otherwise is being heard and given a court of grievance. So I'd really like to see us get focused on our advocacy on these key programs, which have been demonstrated as what was making us successful before. And we need a timeline to get back in operation now, or we're going to evaporate.
And Ryan, just to say, like, that's one of the reasons that us putting together a presentation before the council is going to be very important, and we'll be able to share those things so that they can hear us. And it'll be on the city television and everyone, so that our advocacy begins with being able to share what we do in downtown. And then the other thing is, our group has also begun to discuss the formation of an advocacy group within Santa Ana Business Council. So we do have, there's hope.
You know, both Ryan and Madeline, you both are just so phenomenal. And of course, we, you know, it would be just, you know, terrible to lose either one of you in terms of, I'm sure, you know, funding for the merchant fund is also vital. And I would just encourage you to, you know, use the board to do all we can to support you, to be that advocacy arm. And you know, we really want to support you. You two are vital. We appreciate you so much. So, you know, we're hearing the alarm bells, we understand, and we are at the ready to jump in and do what we need to do to advocate for what is needed for this organization and Downtown Inc. So I just, again, appreciate you so much. And we are hearing the alarm bells. We want to jump in.
Well said, Kim. Thank you, Kim. Okay, so let's move to the next item. Is Tricia still there?
I'm still here. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you very well
good.
now.
Okay, I have put a headset on. I'm glad that helped. Okay, so Walsh is getting closer to coming to the downtown. Anyone who's kind of approaching the downtown can see the work that they're doing in the intersection to lay that curved piece of rail that connects 4th Street to Mortimer. And once that work is complete, they will move down into the first 2 of the 2 block segments. So the 2 block segments are between Mortimer and Spurgeon, and then again between Main and Broadway. Before they open up the roadway, we've just directed them to do what we're calling a mini trench. So they provided to us in an effort to kind of explore what's underneath and to set us up so we can have any additional conflicts that weren't identified on the plans mitigated. They have provided to us ground penetrating radar, which shows us a considerable amount of other issues underneath the roadway. So we're asking them to do what we're calling a mini trench. It's going to be the width of a bucket truck, so that they can just open up, you know, take the concrete out, the asphalt, and look and see what is it that's causing these conflicts. We're going to do that so that, again, we can set ourselves up for success for when they open up the roadway, we can just get in there and as quickly as we can. So I don't have the date when they're going to start the mini trench. They were just given, Walsh was just given that direction by OCTA yesterday. And when we have that information, we'll be providing flyers out to the community. And in addition to that, we're going to start our one-to-one kind of talking to all the businesses in those first two block segments on July 26th. So we'll be walking again with consultant team. We'll go out and talk to all of the businesses to kind of give them a heads up, explain to them what they'll be seeing. Walsh will be putting up crowd fencing on both sides of the sidewalk, and OCTA has created some banners to go on those, on the crowd fencing. Crowd fencing looks a little bit like bicycle, you know, it's, I don't have an image to show you, but It's basically will help keep people from crossing the block midway and crossing and getting into the trench. So we don't have that in other segments. If you drive around, the trench is available and open, and but we have talked with Walsh about using that in the 4th Street because you are so have so many pedestrians, et cetera. So the other thing that we've done is we've walked with Julie and others to look for alternatives to loading zones. So we're aware that because when we shut down traffic, that can impact some of those locations. And we do have a map that we'll be providing so that you can talk with your vendors and make sure that people are aware of where their alternative loading zones will be established. And that's kind of the latest and greatest on what's happening near 4th Street. I know that when we talked to Walsh initially, they envisioned this first stage of these 2 blocks, again, Mortimer to Spurgeon and Main to Broadway, taking 6 months. And because of the delays, we are also acknowledged that even if they start the beginning of August, they're going to run up into the moratorium. And so we're still talking with them and seeing how they plan to stage the work so that when we get to the moratorium, they can close things up in a way that makes sense so that there won't be construction, between Thanksgiving and New Year's. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
So now that you have more information about what's underneath the concrete and the asphalt, let's say on where they're working right now, Mortimer to French, they started construction on the 1st of July, but that's just maybe like half a block of 1 block. That's gonna take more time. And
what we ran into in that segment were the old rail ties from the old red line. And so that did delay the work, or, took more time because you have to deal with those in a very specific way. However, the city has already done rehab work in the segment between French and Ross. And so we don't think that the rail ties are going to be things that could impact us. So I know that's the thing that happened at the intersection. We don't think we are facing that. We think it'll be something, it could be something different.
I see. Okay. So before in the last meeting, we talk about that it would take about 6 months to do 2 blocks.
It'll be, well, it takes 6 months to do 4 blocks.
Oh, 4 blocks. Okay.
Right. 2 non-adjacent 2-block segments. So
Okay.
4th Street is about 8 blocks. And right now they're going to start in, Mortimer to Spurgeon and Main and Broadway. Walsh intends to do that work simultaneously.
Okay.
Teresa, when are they hoping to start 4th Street between French and Spurgeon?
Right now it's in their schedule for the 2nd weekend. Well, as soon as they're done with the paving at 4th and Spurgeon, 4th and Mortimer. And I think that paving work starts on August 5th. I'm just looking at the calendar, on August 5th. So they would start their work the following week. And all of that is subject
August
to
9th.
change. Right.
Yes, it's construction. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for telling me. Thank you.
But, it's difficult because people are going to see them start the mini trench. And for the general public, whether or not the mini trench is really on paper, isn't really part of the Walsh, intrusion into 4th Street. But we're just treating it the same way for the public because the public doesn't kind of realize the nuances of the fact that this is actually a pre-segment for construction work activity.
Teresa, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering when the construction starts, I guess first week of August, Will the schedule be during the daytime, or will it be nighttime, or
Yes.
both?
So what Walsh has told us, and we'll confirm that, is they plan to be working from 7 a.m. Until 7 p.m. So we're going to confirm that they still intend. That was what they had shared with us earlier when we were doing some planning work. But yes, they do plan to start. It should be daytime work into the early evening.
Thank you, Mike.
I wanted a quick question, Teresa. I sent a little preliminary email, but I was wondering, is it possible to come in and have a meeting with you to share a projected idea just that we think would be really powerful for 2022 in terms of a way to bring an attraction to downtown while such things like the construction are happening?
I'm always happy to have a conversation. I think we're going to be limited. OCTA is going to be limited. First of all, we don't have additional funding to provide to the downtown. And I think we were specific in the ways within our agreement as to things
Yeah.
that we could fund and couldn't fund. So preliminary, just my initial review of what you provided to us, I think that's outside of the scope of what the funds could be used for, the funds that we've already provided. And I don't see an opportunity to add additional funding at this time.
Okay.
And we thank you very much for everything you have given us, Teresa. It's very important.
You know, I wish I could. I wish that there was more available to us. You know, our project has struggled, and we're significantly over what we had originally scheduled. We just had to ask our board for authorization to spend another $1 million on potholing, if you can believe it. So I realize the funds that we're providing you is small in scale, you know, is certainly not up to any of the construction costs. But it's
Believe it-
still taxpayer money that we have to account for, and has to be, you know, we can only do so much with it.
It's a lot, Teresa. Believe me, it's a lot. We can do a lot of good things with that money. And we thank you very much for that.
Sure. And then once we get into construction, we're going to look for some opportunities to kind of have standing, what we're going to call kind of field office hours. And we'll, you know, kind of choose a location along the route there down in the downtown, and just be available for maybe an hour every other week, and then set up on the alternating week a time when people, you know, like an open Zoom line or Teams line where people can call in and get their questions answered. So we want to make sure, I mean, everybody can always contact me with specific questions, but we're just going to make ourselves also available out in the field for people as they're kind of, using 4th Street to get questions answered as well.
Teresa, one more question. I was wondering, are you planning on having another open house event like you've done in the past?
We don't have one scheduled, right? The next meeting that we have scheduled is what we call a stakeholder working group. So that's kind of a targeted group that has been with the project, actually started with the city of Santa Ana when they were reviewing the project and doing the environmental review. So there's a group that we've met with throughout, as I said before, project development, design, and now into construction. And that group, I think Raul is invited to that meeting.
Yes, I am.
The next one is July 27th.
Yeah.
And then once we get that meeting behind us, we'll probably do another, kind of more community open event, and we look forward to being able to have one in person eventually.
Okay, good.
And thank you for inviting me to that meeting, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Hi, Teresa.
Yes.
Hi. Is it possible for they have a construction for the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to try to change for 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. for the evening?
That's, I mean, I'm happy to ask, but OCTA can't require the contractor to do that. OCTA's contract with them does not allow us to direct their means and methods in that way. So it's the contractors, you know, they schedule the work, and there is a premium to doing any, you know, night work. So that would be an additional cost to the project.
Thank you, Walter.
But the thing is, thinking about it, for the daytime, as in a Santa Ana downtown, the business is the COVID-19 and construction, and that the business is very slow. And then that's why you can try to Santa Ana is only a block to maybe they can adjustment for the only Santa Ana downtown to change for the schedule for the day. I try to change for the evening.
I think the other challenge that we have in flipping all of the work to night work is that some of the work is loud, and there are residents that live now, you know, on 4th Street. And so that's, you know, that's sort of a balance too, is to, you know, really not be reasonable to expect people to have to be you know, trying to sleep right next to construction on a regular basis, you know, night after night after night. Occasionally we have to do some you know, have night activities, and we ask for people's patience as those things have to be scheduled because of, you know, a variety of reasons. For example, on the paving side out in segment 2, they start the paving, they bring the trucks in and they start getting everything ready at about midnight. Because of the temperature fluctuations during the day, you don't get the same kind of set from the pavement trying to do it during the day when the temperatures are so hot. So, but that's kind of a one-off, you know, they pave a segment, a block or two at a time. So again, to try to have all of the work at night is not a really good quality of life choice for the people who are residents in the downtown area.
It makes sense, Teresa. Yeah. Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for giving us, Julie and Teresa, for giving us all that updated news. And we're gonna move to the next line, Magdalena, which is you. And Claudia Nafa, if you have anything from them to share with us.
Yes, I'll just start going through this real quick. In terms of the digital directories, all of our partners are on hold till we have locations within the downtown. There was a walkthrough and there's been a mock-up with specific walls that Raul and Claudia Nafa and others went through to see. One of the questions I had, Raul, was, are we, if it's not city property, are we thinking we're going to talk to the business owners directly to find out if they would allow those to go on their location?
That's the plan, yes. And I offer my spaces and my properties to put those signs if they're if they fit on the space that we chose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to check because then that's another piece of footwork, is just making sure all of those property owners are okay. And then
Madeline, can I jump in for just even though the property owners will say, yes, you can use this segment of my private property, a city permit will need to be issued. So just before we, start construction, you will need to do that. I did send an email your way with several potential dates, or 2 potential dates, to have a walkthrough with our public works team. Not sure if you can get back to me on that. I want to say that the 2 whole dates are for next week. The team is ready to do the walkthrough and help answer those specific questions.
Would the Public Works team also be able to give us identification of areas that the city on city property that would be available outside of what has already been put together with the by Raul and Claudia?
Well, we haven't seen what has been put together by Raul and Claudia. And it was my impression based on the last conversation that we had that we wanted to do a walkthrough with Public Works so that way we can identify together prime locations and then identify the process. So there's 2 dates that are on hold on my calendar and also on the Public Works calendar. So if you could just let me know.
Yeah. Well, I'll respond to those,
Thank
but I was just wondering if in that process, you guys would be able to also help to identify what would be possible.
I think
with
that's the
city
goal.
locations.
I think that's the goal for this walkthrough is to kind of figure out what the specs are, the details, and identify good locations, taking into consideration all factors like the streetcar and, you know, any other sidewalk improvements, things like that.
Julie, and the process would be, let's say the property owner will need to give a letter to the city in order to pull out the permits to be to install the signs on the property.
Raul, let me do a little bit of research because up to this point, the conversation was to have it on city property, not private. So all of the preliminary information that I emailed you and Madeline as far as the process was specific to sidewalks and public property.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it's allowed on private property or to what degree. We also need the specs. Madeline, the specs that you sent me for the directory, I think that you put feet, it was like 30 feet by 18 feet. And so I sent you a couple emails asking to clarify if you meant inches. So I think that that's the case. But if you could just help respond to those little details, I think.
Yeah, I think,
cool.
well, from what Julie just said, if I respond to the email about the public walkthrough, once we have an idea from them and we take what we have from Claudia Nafa, we can share it with the city. And that way, at least we could see what all the possibilities are before we even find out about the other pieces that Julie is describing with
and then let me see if I have enough time to invite planning and building. So Public Works focuses on public sidewalks, and then planning and building staff, they would be in charge of private property permits. So now that you're mentioning that there's private property considerations, I'll do my best to get somebody, but just let me know the date that works for you and the team, so that way I can narrow it down for planning and building as well.
Question, just wondering on those directories, do we have any initial ideas on which areas of the city we want to designate the directories to be located at, whether it's on private or public?
Well, automatically there's like we kind of have 4 corners. There's the west, the east, the north and the south side of downtown. There's certain locations that people automatically come into the city or come in at, which would be like where public parking is. Like, so you know that people most of the time if they publicly park in specific areas, a directory around those areas is probably some of the best places to be able to be visible. But I think that we'll know more once we complete the process of at least what Raul and Claudia Nafa have identified, what the city will be able to identify, putting all of that information together. And then you guys the board will get something that shows all of the spots, and we'll be able to ask from that point forward, like what the next steps on that are. So, and the rest of the folks are just waiting till we have that before we even start my design process and the rest of all of that. So anyway, okay.
One more small thing on the directories is that I know that you guys might have money for the initial installation, and something that's super duper important, and we can all attest to this with the existing directories. there needs to be funding to sustain and maintain and repair those directories for years to follow.
Yeah,
And let's say that there's not enough money for, more than 10 years to sustain something like that, then maybe at the 5-year mark, there needs to be some funding dedicated to the removal of that directory equipment, because that will all be required as part of the
so
permit.
what my
or the
question
agreement.
is there a little duplication? Because like Clean and Safe is our Clean and Safe team for downtown. And when you're saying things like, how are you guys going to clean and maintain items one by one? Are we supposed to like itemize each section of downtown as to like, or is that a part of a general, like when we clean downtown?
I'm talking about like if it gets damaged, like the actual directory, let's say that the glass is broken or someone takes a hammer to it, or it gets tagged and the Clean and Safe team can't really fix it. I don't know if you've had a conversation with Jose Romo about adding that responsibility to his team. And if you have, great. And if you haven't, I would suggest that you do that. But I'm talking about like hard maintenance costs.
So like, for instance, if somebody tags something in downtown, I wouldn't take a photo and send it to the city to take care of the tagging issue, or like, it wouldn't be the normal kinds of ways.
I'm talking about hard things. So like the structure is damaged. How are you going to fix that? Do you have money set aside to repair it?
Yeah,
I think we have to think about that also and allocate some money. Yeah. I think
and the agreement will call for that.
Yeah, I think that's.
Or we can take out insurance on it, on those directories, and then if there are any damages, then the insurance can pay for it for repairs and replacement. That's another option.
Idea.
We also may be able to have the vendor that's putting it in take some of that risk for us. So in other words, they would have an obligation for 5 years to,
A maintenance service agreement with the installer.
A fee, and that way some of the risk is spread to the vendor itself, but they also have the benefit of having a 5-year contract. So that may be another way to help defer costs, where we're spreading the risk for, to the vendor, but they have the benefit of having a fee paid by Santa Ana Business Council over the next 5 years. It's guaranteed.
Because damage, it will happen. It will happen to those signs. And we will have some repair to do. I think it's a good idea, to talk to the vendor and with a contract, and if something happens, then we call them up and they fix, replace, whatever they have to.
It'll also make the vendor really think about how they can construct it in a way that is a little bit tamper-proof and also easily repaired. So it kind of makes them really, because they have way more knowledge about how to maintain these things than we would. So, maybe, working with the vendor they really have the expertise. So.
And these are modeled after, actually, the ones that we are doing are modeled after Long Beach, and they're very durable. It's not glass. It's not any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it should not be that hard. But I guess, sorry.
Magdalena, can you move to the next? I think
yes, please. I actually have no updates because I haven't had a chance to have a meeting with my mural mapping team.
Okay.
But I will do that, and you'll get more information as soon as I do.
Okay.
I just found out that there's like a little bit of a confusion on this porch photography project, which I hope to clear up today, where my kid-friendly cities team and the porch photography there's a cross promotion going on in this event, and one of them has to do with our kid-friendly pop-ups that we hope to do coming up. And the other one has to do with the actual event, which is just an outdoor gallery showcasing the photos of families across Santa Ana. So that is something that I have to work out with that group today as well. But hopefully you'll be hearing when this is going to happen on hopefully the 24th still of this month. And I've gotten information and updates from Raul in terms of the permitting, et cetera. So that's great. And then we do have a rooftop film screening that is actually community engagement is putting together, which is going to be on the 31st. And that's on top of one of the rooftops here in downtown Santa Ana. The film that's going to be screened is called Alice's Streets. And it's about art and art installation, and there should be an art panel as well in that engagement. The other thing that we have is I've been working with the Mexican consulate and others to begin having a discussion around a major art installation for downtown, similar to what we had in the past. And we just are at the beginning stages of discussion and talking to the artist, et cetera. And that's very exciting. And it's an idea to help stimulate regional and even statewide attention to downtown. And we have some new institutions which are coming online, like the travel and tourism and such. So there may be an opportunity to partner with some of those organizations on this project. And you guys should get a copy of like the document showcasing what it would look like potentially coming up. And then we have the opportunity to put together a council presentation, which I told, like I was describing to Ryan, and that's set for August. We also have our downtown strategy sessions, which Maria, did you want to come in real quick?
Yes, thank you, everyone. Good morning. Just some wins from the strategy sessions. Attendees, we have polled them and they have shared that they find value in our teachings. Attendees from like the previous sessions have returned, so that's good. They're coming back. Our classes provide a safe space where the ones who are present, they share their concerns and what they would like for us to continue guiding them with and bringing resources. And then all the information that we provide, we give them some follow-up work, and then as well as the free resources. And then Sarah and I are going to the businesses individually and following up with them to see if they applied what they learned in class, and if not, how we can further help them out. So thank you for that. And we have a plan to attract lots of new businesses. So our lists, our signups are growing. So we're excited to share that. So thank you.
Maria, when you say that attract more businesses that are not in the downtown, or more businesses to the sections?
Businesses in the, so for example, there's a salon that keeps coming, and she's like, this is so valuable. Next time I'm bringing 2 more people. So
okay,
it's like, they're so excited that they're actually, what happens in these sessions, they're actually helping each other out, which they look at things in a new way. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to create a safe space for them to not be in competition, but rather collaboration. So we do see that in our classes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maria. The next thing is we've had a set programming during COVID. We went digital. There's some set of programs that we've done. Now that things are opening back up, I'd like to be able to reevaluate some of those contracts and maybe bring in some new contracts. The contracts we have right now is Open Stage, the Hot Hour, and we had a series that ended a while ago, but it was these short videos that were showcasing businesses throughout downtown. I would like to bring back and do another series, which you guys will get more of information on, of business highlights, so that we have, and I've had a meeting with these 2 videographers about doing some of those highlights so that we can have those, because it's really great to have them. Even we noticed, like in times like Boca de Oro, we were able to actually share again who our businesses in downtown are through the videography that we'd done and the different short videos that we had representing the businesses of downtown. So, and one of the things I know Raul had asked me, he wanted mariachi music. We do have a mariachi group that can start coming down. We just need to figure out best days. And right now there's a whole bunch of things opening up because our permitting is coming through. So we're going to start creating our schedule again. And some of the things that I've heard about already is, which is outside of even us, but Munchies is planning like Monday night roller skating, which is be every Monday night. So there'd be like a roller skating thing going on, all the things coming back online for first Saturdays, like the dancing and the Spurgeon Paseo. Oh, and this is what Senora Ariganes wanted to talk about too, is moving over to the Calle Cuatro Plaza, and the Callejon de Beso area also are the two areas that we regularly would program during that. And then on third Saturdays, starting to bring back programming for 2nd Street Promenade. I'd really like to look forward to doing something where we start activating Birch Park. We still have to get our memorandum of understanding passed, which I still need our legal team, which isn't back in session, to go through one more time before we go to council with that. And also I've been prepping all of our council members so that they understand that is an important thing about programming in downtown. And so we also have some new businesses that are interested in doing some like vintage clothing things. And we're trying to coordinate some of that with different groups. The kid-friendly city pop-ups is another one. And that's something we're working with Amiga Social Club, the Latina Parenting, and Mamis Unidos. So that's another programmed thing. So in the next few months starting, we're going to start having a programming schedule back for downtown of different activities and things that we're going to be doing. And now that Raul has those last pieces to get our sidewalk sales and our permitting in place, it's great. And then the very last thing on this is that right now, one of the things with our granting process is we are turning in all of the information pertaining to Boca de Oro with our California Arts Council grant. So that's an intense process that's happening right now, where they want numbers, they want to know statistics, they want to know how many of what kind of people, demographic information. It's like a lot of things. And I've been working with Joella to try and get all of the data. We did have a lot of our data in that CVent program. So it's really great that all the numbers are in that digital program. It would have been harder actually outside of the digital program. But it's like complicated, and everybody's been like away from it for a while. So dredging up all that information again is hard. Anyway, that is most everything with some of the work that's being done right now. We also had one other little thing, which is a project where we offered to partner with the city commission to have all of our downtown the repainted what are they called? The
Utility boxes.
Utility boxes. So that is happening, and we have a couple of those stipends already are coming in. So we partnered. The city gave, I think, a couple $100, and we put in a couple $100 to really make it worth the while of those artists to make things look nice again and bring all of their paintings back. And some of them are even doing more creative, like I saw Eddie de la Barca with his, you guys should see them as you're going around your businesses, because I know a lot of those utility boxes are placed right outside. So yes, and I think that's all that I have right now. I do know that Ryan is here, and he had 2 different meetings that kind of, since we partner a lot, one of them is the funding for, they had a committee. And Ryan, are you there? Maybe you can share really quickly what your committee decisions were for funding on the tamalada and posalada and different events that you are funding? I think even, I don't know if he's actually there or not. Okay, well, he sent a list and I'll actually forward it to you of what their decisions were. And it just helps us because a lot of times we're all kind of, we're helping to sponsor things together, co-sponsoring. So it lets us know what they're putting in. I think that they put in like 5,000 for either the chamalada or posalada and maybe another 2,500 for something. And I know that we weren't able to vote on that today, but
Magdalena,
yeah, we can take
what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send a motion to vote on these two motions, and maybe our board can vote on by email.
Yes.
And we'll get this taken care of it today.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And then, yeah, and then the very last thing was the art walk situation, which has been very dramatic in downtown going on right now.
Yeah, but yeah, well, maybe that's something to talk about the next meeting.
Yeah, well, I'll send you guys the notes because there was a meeting to bring together everybody to have a discussion about the importance of art walk, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so those two notes I'll send that are from Downtown Inc. And that's everything. And if there's any questions, please ask.
Okay. Any more questions from anybody?
Or public comment.
Oh, public comments. Yeah, right.
Go
ahead, Mike.
This is Joe Castellanos.
Oh, hello, Joe. How are you? Good to have you here on the meeting.
Thank you. I just want to make a comment. Yesterday, we had a meeting with all the security guard and business owners regarding the security personnel as far as the do's and don'ts with customers.
Right.
ABC was invited also and informed the business people of some of the sales of alcohol and ID checks and things like that. So I hope this will bring a little bit more control on the music and also the over-serving of alcohol so we can have less problems in the downtown. And I noticed a comment was made about the homeless. We are working together with a whole team and other units here with the PD to address that issue. Obviously, as you well know, that some of the homeless, there's a couple of subjects. They walk around the downtown, and particularly this one guy, all he does is walks. I can't even catch up to him. He walks so fast. So again, if he doesn't do anything wrong, we can't do anything about it. However, some of the owners, business owners, they do inform me where they camping. For example, I might not see where they camping, at night. At one point or another, they will, lay down to rest. And that information, will be good for me to know so that way I can adjust my schedule. I do come in on certain days early, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm trying to catch that. I'm trying to move them out. I'm trying to offer them some, shelters and other things. But I do come in and adjust my schedule to be able to provide a better quality for the customers and the business people in the downtown.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think I know I don't want you to give your contact information because this meeting's being recorded and is public, but it would be really helpful if somehow we could get the new contact information for the new dedicated police officers. It just helps, it's wonderful to have that. And that way we can text you if we see something, and it just helps to have the good communication.
Yes, I'll stop by and see Raul later on today, and I'll provide him with that information.
And I'll share the number, your phone number with the other board members.
Okay, thank you, Raul.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, if there's no more comments, I have to run and open up my business. Does anybody has any more questions? I still have 5 more minutes, so if I'll be 15 minutes late, so be it. Yeah.
This is great. We concluded the meeting before 10 o'clock. Not bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Made good time. Very good time. So if there's no more comments, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being on this. Make the time to be in the meeting.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Raul.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Walter. See you later, Walter.
Have a good one.
Adios. Sheshe.
Live
Thank
next
you.
time.
Have a good one.
Masalame, Mike.